Hi everyone, I'm the Rum.
And I'm the Wine.
So on our YouTube channel, we're expats from Austria and Barbados. See me here? Yes. We fell in love, got married, and moved to here, Dublin, Ireland. We make videos for those thinking about moving to Dublin, Ireland, or just interested, or those who already live here and want to more integrate and enjoy this lovely place that we've chosen to live. So, if you're interested in that stuff, please do subscribe, because we've got interesting stuff. What do we do again? I think some day trips.
Yes, some ancient walls in the sea, lighthouses, islands in Dublin, secret islands.
Yes, and also, since we're from two very different countries, we also intersperse some of our cultural cool things that we get from each other's culture. Yeah, there's a video there that is going to pop up and you'll see exactly what I mean. Anyways, enough of that. Let's get started with today's episode.
So one of our most popular videos is how much does it cost to move to Ireland? So as a kind of follow-up to that, we thought we'd do a what is it like? What do you need to do in the first weeks that you've actually moved here? So we're going to be talking about that, sharing some tips and some useful links for when you get here.
Naturally, when you first come to Dublin, the first thing you're going to be thinking about is accommodation. We recently had a subscriber who's actually moving to Dublin pretty soon. Exciting stuff. And almost everything's done except for finding accommodation. So accommodation is sometimes maybe provided by your school or your new employer, or just for a little bit of time, especially with your employer, until you're able to find a place of your own. Usually, in those situations, what you could do if you're not provided a place by your employer is book either a hostel or our preferred method, an Airbnb, for about 1 or 2 weeks, so that you can come to Dublin, know you have somewhere to sleep, but then still give yourself some time to hit the ground running to find a new place. Usually, sites you check out would be dafi.ie, or certain Facebook groups like Expats for Dublin, where people put up rooms that they have to share, or in other cases, rent.ie or daft.ie for full apartments if you want to do that as well. Also, if you're kind of short for money, instead of going to Airbnb, there's also hostels that you can check into, or if you're really adventurous and don't mind it, even couchsurfing.com.
So yeah, don't worry, we'll put all the links down in the description, and there'll also be a blog post listing exactly what all these links are. So the next thing you're probably thinking about is transport. So the good news is Ireland does have a Leap card, which works kind of like the Oyster card. This is it. Works kind of like the Oyster card in London. So you have one card that you top up with money, and you just swipe that before you get on the tram, the train, or on the bus. With the bus, you can also pay with coins if you don't have a card yet. And with the tram and with the trains, you'd usually have to go to a ticket machine and get a ticket from there otherwise. So you can get these Leap cards at the airport. There's like a Spar, small sort of corner shop within the arrivals hall. So you can get one from there, or you can get it from mostly any convenience store within the city centre. And then when you want to tap it up, you can either do that in a shop, or you just get the app if your phone is able to read the card, and then you just top it up directly from the app. Or at like bigger train stations or tram stations, you also have a machine where you can top it up manually. We'll also link some very useful apps to download if you're going to be using public transport a lot. So there's the app that is like a journey planner for transport for Dublin, as well as a real-time app that tells you when the buses are coming. To be fair, we recently had this experience with the bus going to the airport. It says real-time, it's not necessarily always real-time. If there was a route change, it'll still say the bus is coming, even if it's not, if it's going a completely different route. Yeah, that happened to us going to the airport under time pressure. That was not fun. So like always maybe double check on the website to make sure the bus is actually going and there hasn't been a change to the route. And another website that's very useful, like in most cities is Google Maps. And there's also hittheroad.ie.
Yep,
I was going to say Hit the Road Jack, but I was like, no, that's a song, it's not a website.
Yes, hittheroad.ie. one of our favorite, sites to use because it's tailored exactly towards Dublin, unlike Google Maps. So you kind of get the cool shortcuts and the proper different routes that you can take, not just based on time, but really making the least transportation choices. As always, if moving to a new place, it's not, your usual death and taxes that must exist, but it's more like bills and utilities. So when you move to Dublin, there are a few utilities that way might catch you off guard. The first one is, you may not call it a utility, but it's actually the TV license. We, coming from the Caribbean, I had no idea this thing exists. Basically, it's supposed to be a yearly payment if you have a TV that you pay. Pretty controversial, but do expect that, during your time here, during that first year, you'll hear about it, and there is a fee, and we're not telling you to pay it or not to pay it, just saying, it's there.
There's a fine if you don't pay it, then someone comes to inspect your flat.
Yes, we pay ours, so you can go with that. One of the other interesting things is utilities is that we actually don't pay for water. That was a big surprise for us, because if you're there looking for a flat and the person quotes a water bill, they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes. There is no actual water bill, but they are electricity and internet bills. So we'll link to some of the big providers. Do subscribe, but we're going to link to the providers of internet and electricity. No ads or anything like that. You may want to go with the providers that can offer you the highest internet speeds, depending on where you are, because let's face it, we use the internet a lot when you're in a big city like this, as well as for electricity. Yes, there are also some providers, so usually when you get into the flat, they already have one provided, so may go with that unless you're in a position to change and find a better provider. Another important thing is that these utilities are also able to give you a proof of address. In the next section, we're talking about why this proof of address is so important.
So the next point is, there are a few things that you need if you want to start a job. So the first thing that's like the one and all you need for everything is that proof of address. So that could be a contract with your landlord, that could be from the registry board that registers all tenancies, or most easily often a utility bill with your name, or if there's two of you, like a couple, ideally both of your names on it. So once you have those, you can go to the next steps. So your workplace usually asks for that. What your workplace also usually asks for is a PPSN number. That's like your social security number. So what you need to do for that is to book an appointment with like the sort of social welfare office, and they're going to ask for the proof of address as well. And once you have the PPSN number, you can go to the bank, because they'll also ask for that to identify you, and then you can set up the bank account, and then you can go back to your job, because you'll need an actual Irish bank account in most cases to be paid your salary. Now usually employers, especially if they're hiring you from abroad, they know you can't have that already there on the first day, so they usually expect you to get that during the first month, and it'll give you time off to go to the welfare office. And if for whatever reason the bank account doesn't come through immediately, they'll give you, in my case, I got a check for the first, like a really old-fashioned, at least as Europeans, very old-fashioned, I know in the US we still use them, but very old-fashioned check with my first salary, and I had to wait for my bank account to be fully opened, and then I could launch that, and then from then on I got paid there. And one more thing is the taxes. We're back with the taxes. You do need to sign up to Revenue Online, ideally, to be able to just edit your information online, and you always need to make sure they also know who you're employed with, so you can just give them a call, tell them, yes, I'm registered with this company, that's their VAT ID, and then you're set up to make sure you don't have to pay emergency tax, which is 40% of your salary, which is quite a lot.
Yeah, you don't want that when you just moved into a place and, had to pay for the first month's rent as well. So do remember that. And finally, we have clothing. Now, if you like me, tropical climate, you can't just hop on the plane to Dublin and, you know, be expected to wear your summer wear here. Yeah, no, the summer has currently gone. Some might argue it's sticking around, but for me,
some may argue it never even
gone.
arrived this year.
Yes, one of the things you have to do is to make sure that when you land, plan in getting some new clothes or some additional clothes, especially if you come from a climate where you may not have had, you know, your jackets and so on like that lying around. Of course, if you stretch for cash, there's a lovely store called Pennies, Primark to the rest of the world, and where you can go get something, especially depending on the season. Now that it's, you know, coming up to fall, there's enough clothes that would match the Irish weather for most around the year there. And one of the most things I can stress, no, it does not rain all the time in Ireland, but when it does, you're gonna wish you had a waterproof something. You could get yourself an umbrella, but I've seen too many umbrellas being tossed about and broken for me to trust them. So
it's very windy here.
Yes, sehr windig if we're speaking German. And yeah, don't be blown away by a gust of wind. Instead, you may want to get a raincoat and some waterproof shoes. There's nothing worse than going to work if you've got some wet socks. You don't want that in this life.
Bonus tip, keep an extra pair of socks in your work drawer. Trust us.
Yeah, or pants. I've seen people carry extra pants as well, so keep that in mind.
So we hope you enjoyed this video. If you do want to hear more about moving to Dublin, how to adjust, what kind of stuff you can get up to, let us know your questions in the comments.
Yes, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we do this every single week. Yeah, you get to see our lovely faces, and you know what? I don't think we've done a day trip for a while, so I think that's coming up next. So, until then, this is the wine. No, I'm the rum.
This is the rum, this is the wine.
So, that's it for now.
Just to clarify.
Bis später.
Bye.